So today's class is free the upper body. So we're going to be using our block underneath our shoulder blades. So it can come two ways. You can have it underneath the shoulder blades horizontally. You can have it between the shoulder blades vertically. Have the elbows in as tight as you need to support the head and keep the shoulders comfortable, but just start to mobilize side to side. And as we do this, let's of course think about our 360 breath. Breathing all around the rib cage. And you can start to flare the elbows. You can start to lift and round off the block and lean back over it. So whatever starts to feel good, move in whatever way feels nice. But keep that really conscious or mindful breath so we're not holding it, we're not tensing around the face. Turn to or roll to one side just to remove the block. And now we'll lie flat on our back, block between the knees or the thighs, setting up with that triple S. So feeling those three touch points, the back of the skull, the shoulder blades, and the sacrum, which is right between your cheeks, the lowest part of the spine. Let's start with hands at the thighs. Press down into your full feet. So really maintain contact with that big toe as you slowly lift up one vertebra at a time, like you're peeling Velcro up. So nice and slow, we lift into that low bridge. We're staying low enough that our shoulder blades are absolutely still fully grounded, and maybe or probably even some or all of those back ribs touching the ground. So super low, feeling this in the glutes, pelvic points draw in. Both arms up, palms up. So this is wrist extension. Protract, lift the palms up even higher, and then bring the shoulder blades back to the ground. Lift the palms up, protract the shoulder blades, lower down. Do this at any pace. We're protracting as we lift the hands. The shoulder blades are spreading away from the spine or away from each other, and then they slide back in as the shoulder blades come back to the ground. Pause with the shoulder blades back on the ground, that neutral position. Take your right fingers, let's stretch out the left wrist, holding this position of wrist extension. Send that left thumb out to the middle or out to the side, so you're getting a stretch on the inner part of the wrist as well, near the thumb. Breathing into the ribs. Switch hands, let's stretch out that right wrist. And imagine kind of spreading the fingers here so that you get that stretch toward the right thumb. Breathe into your ribs, front, side, and back. Stay long through the low back. Hands come back to the thighs. Take a breath in. And just like we lifted up, I want you to lower down one vertebra at a time. So you have to maintain that kind of core integration as you lower down slowly. And we'll keep the block here, but you can always adjust the width or the placement if you'd like for our core work. I'm gonna have the block behind my head just because of how my neck feels today, which is a great option to say. That's always great to put a block behind your skull if you tend to overuse the neck muscles. So find that triple S, hands behind the head or your block, elbows up toward the ceiling or way in toward the forehead, whatever you can get. Take a huge breath into the ribs. As you exhale, lean the head back. So we're staying heavy in the head, lift off the shoulder blades. Nice and low. Maintain that long neck. So chin is slightly toward the throat, like you're gazing between the knees or your belly button if you can see it. Inhale to lower down. Exhale, lift up. Stay long through the back of the neck. Feel those two pelvic points draw in. Inhale to lower down. We're going to add on. Exhale, lift up. Draw those pelvic points in. Feel those front ribs knit in. Turn your sternum, so the center of the chest, 1 inch to the left, but try to stay off your left shoulder blade if you can. Bring it back to center. Inhale and lower. Exhale, lift up. Draw those pelvic points in. Feel those front ribs knit in. Turn your sternum, so the center of the chest, 1 inch to the left, but try to stay off your left shoulder blade if you can. Bring it back to center. Inhale and lower. Exhale, lift up. Draw those pelvic points in. Feel those front ribs knit in. Turn your sternum, so the center of the chest, 1 inch to the left, but try to stay off your left shoulder blade if you can. Bring it back to center. Inhale and lower. Feel those front ribs knit in like you're wearing a corset around those lower ribs. Keep leaning the head back, turn the ribs 1 inch to the right. Stay off that right shoulder blade like you're lifting that right elbow a little bit higher. Bring it back to center. Inhale and lower. One more round with an add-on. Exhale, lift up. Feel those front ribs pull in toward the body, belly pulls down. Turn 1 inch to the left. Stay off that left shoulder blade. Now our right arm's gonna cross over. Protract that right shoulder blade to reach your whole right hand or right fingers even further. Hand back behind the head as you come to center. Inhale, lower. Last side, exhale, lift up. Keep the back of the neck long so we're not yanking the neck to lift. Turn through the ribs 1 inch to the right. Lift that right elbow. Now left arm's gonna reach over. Protract to reach even further. Maybe we lift a touch more off that right shoulder blade. Come back, hand behind the head. Inhale and lower. All right, let's remove the block however you want. We're gonna head to quadruped. Coming to hands and knees. We will start with a little cat-cow. As gently as you need. You can be on fist, you could be on palms, you could turn fingers out, maybe back. And just start to move as gently as you need in both directions, this rounding and arching of the back. Spinal flexion when we round the back. Spinal extension when we arch the back and lift the chest. Let's find our neutral spine here as if we had a broom behind us touching the back of our skull, shoulder blades, and sacrum. So really buoyant and light in the neck. Right hand's gonna stay down. Left fingers reach right out to the left, but keep the fingertips grounded. So left fingertips right on the ground. Hold that right shoulder as steady as you can. Notice if we've lowered or dropped the ribs or the belly. Can we maintain that lift in the front of the body? Now float the left fingers up any amount without changing the right shoulder. As you inhale, push the right hand into the ground. That turns the chest maybe an inch or so to the left. As you exhale, thread that left arm underneath you, any amount that feels good as we turn the ribs the other way. Inhale, push that right hand down into the ground. Hold the right shoulder strong as we turn the ribs to the left. Thread it under. Try that a couple more times at any pace that feels good, maintaining this length in the spine, focusing on turning through the ribs and the chest, but maintaining a pretty still lower back. Find your quadruped and reset that triple S long through the spine. This time our left shoulder is going to stay pretty fixed. We're going to try to keep it still as we reach right fingertips out to the right. Lift the front body up without rounding the spine. Right fingertips float, and we push the left hand into the ground. Turn the sternum, the center of the chest, to the right. Exhale, thread under any amount that feels good. Push into that left hand. Rotate right, hold the left arm strong. Thread it under. Any pace that feels good. Back to quadruped, lower onto your forearms. So you can have forearms here with the palms flat. You can have fingers interlaced, whatever feels good. Knees in pretty tight. Let's try to protract and retract our shoulder blades here. So without moving the head and the low back much, try to spread those shoulder blades apart by pushing the forearms into the mat. And then lower the chest down. The shoulder blades slide back toward each other. Protract, push the forearms into the ground. We get space between the shoulder blades. And then we lose that space as the chest lowers toward the ground. So try that a couple more times. If you want to amp up the challenge, you can do this in a hovering quadruped, hovering the knees up, maintaining that fairly long spine, and just feeling that protraction and retraction of the shoulder blade, keeping that neck in alignment. So wherever you want to be, let's try to lift up into a dolphin. So if you want to just stick with forearm quadruped, you can. If you want to shift back into a child's pose, you can. If you want to take a dolphin, it's like a hovering forearm quadruped. You tuck the toes, you hover the knees, and you lift from the hip creases just like we would for down dog. Up, 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 pushing the forearms into the ground, any amount, and then lowering with control. Good, let's take a child's pose. Walk the hands over toward the left. Little side stretch here. You could be up higher with the hips in a puppy pose. Breathe into that right side body. Walk the hands over toward the right corner, getting a stretch along that left side body. Breathe here. All right, back to center. And we'll make our way into a standing position at the front of the mat. Okay, soft in the knees. Let's find our triple S here. Reach the arms forward and up. Pinkies reach way up. Lift the armpits up toward the ears. Maintain that length in the spine as you hinge all the way forward. Big bend in the knees. Right foot steps back. Lower the knee and the top of the foot. Lift up. 90-90 lunge. Find that triple S. Let's roll one shoulder back at a time. Engaging that right glute to hold the pelvis still. Hands come down, quadruped. Anything with the hands, let's cat-cow. Mobilizing the spine at any pace. Tuck the toes, down dog. Lift the hip creases up. Press into the fingers. On an exhale, let's lower the knees. Quadruped, right foot steps through. We untuck those left toes as we lift up into our 90-90. Find that same triple S alignment, firm that left glute. Let's roll one shoulder back at a time. Starting to free up the shoulders and around the neck. Hands come forward. Let's step the left foot forward to meet the right, bent knee forward fold. Push the ground away, rise up, long in the spine. Pinkies reach way up. Bend the knees and let's hinge. Left foot steps back. Lower the knee, but not the toes. We're lifting into that 90-90. Firm that left glute. Lift up. Maintain triple S. We're starting with just a little arm swing. And you can add a little turn through the ribs as you swing, a little thoracic rotation, but hold the pelvis steady. So glutes nice and strong. Hands come down, quadruped. Cat-cow. Any pace. Tuck the toes, down dog. Lift those hip creases up, lift the ribs up. Take a breath in. On an exhale, lower the knees using the core to lower with control. Left foot steps forward. We keep the right toes tucked. Same 90-90. Find triple S. Little arm swing. Holding that pelvis still. Then you can add a small turn of the ribs. Hands come forward. Let's step the right foot forward to meet the left. Bent knee forward fold. Push the ground away. Let's rise up. Shoulder blades lift way up. Big bend in the knees. Let's hinge long in the spine. Sequence is starting. Right foot steps back. Lower the knee, but not the toes. Lifting into our 90-90. Now we really want to picture that broom behind us here, nice and long in the spine. Make sure the ribs don't pop forward. So keep those ribs right over the pelvis. We're going to bring one arm up, one arm down. Doesn't matter which one first. We're going to switch. Open the chest by pulling the arms back without arching the back. And then just switch. One arm up, one arm down. So everybody's is going to look different in terms of how far back the arms are. Maintain that length in the spine. So we're not losing any height as we do this. It's just the shoulders, the upper back, that chest opening. Use blocks if you'd like. We're going to lift off our right knee, turn to the right side of the mat. Long in the spine, side lunge right, and then push the ground away, come back to stand. Side lunge right, and rise. So we're going to keep side lunging to the right, and you'll add a left arm swing forward. Make sure this left arm swing is a controlled arm swing. So not letting the back arch or the ribs pop, meaning we're not letting the spine do the job of the shoulder. Just this controlled swing, maintaining that length in the spine as we side lunge to the right. Turn to the back of the mat. Plant that left hand down, left knee down, modified side plank. Right foot steps back. Set up here, long in the spine, strong left shoulder. Right hand can either come to the right shoulder as we circle, or if it feels good, you can have the right arm straighter as you circle, or maybe a goal post with the elbow bent as you circle. So whatever you want to do here as we mobilize this right side, stay as strong and stable as you can around the left shoulder. So if it feels like that's really not stable or moving around a lot, make your right arm movement smaller. Good, let's take our right foot. We're gonna step it forward toward the back of the mat. Lift off our left knee. Turn back to the side of the mat. Hips externally rotate. We're in our goddess squat. So toes turn out, arms come out to the side. You could have palms facing whatever direction. Hold the ribs still. Let's circle the arms. Any size circle here, any pace, either direction, but really keep the ribs from moving. So hold that stack. Good, turn to the front of the mat, plank pose. Long in the spine, knees can be up or down. Let's lift the throat, open the chest. Lower down with control. Good, let's find our cobra here. Pelvis is neutral, glutes are active. Hands drag back as we lift the chest. Now you're welcome to stay here, or you can try a little gentle shoulder roll one at a time, just like we would in our low lunge. So this might be teeny tiny, that's okay. Can we get a little movement and mobilization as we hold that neutral pelvis, that engagement around the glutes and the low belly. All right, down dog is where we're headed. Of course, you're welcome to take a child's pose. If you're in down dog, walk those feet in so that your down dog is nice and narrow. I want you to feel buoyant and springy in your feet, not that you're trying to get those heels down. So lift those ribs up. We're gonna add some shoulder shrugs if that feels good. So just like a quadruped protracting and retracting, this is a little different. In your down dog, you're gonna feel those shoulder blades lift up towards your ears and lower down. So we're just doing the same action in down dog. So knees super soft, hips really lifted, spine is long. Let's walk it forward, bent knee forward fold. Long through the back of the neck. Let's push the ground away and rise up. Second side, reach those shoulder blades up. Bend the knees, hinge, long in the spine. Left foot back. Lower the knee, but not the toes. We're lifting into that 90-90. Check in, ears over the shoulders, ribs over the pelvis. Firm that left glute. Diagonal arms, one arm up, one arm down. We're almost trying to get this cobra type of feeling where we open the chest, but we keep that engagement around the glutes and the low belly. Keep the spine really long. Let's lift up. You can use blocks, lift off the left knee, turn to the left. We're side lunging only to the left. And then push the ground away to straighten. Side lunge left. Keep that feeling of a broom taped behind your back. Then we'll swing that right arm forward, a little shoulder flexion. As you swing the arm, let's make sure we don't arch the back. So that would feel like the belly dropping down toward the ground or the ribs dropping down. So maintain that feeling of the front body lifting up. Let's turn to the back of the mat. Our right hand and right knee will come down, modified side plank. Left foot back, secure that right shoulder, nice and stable. Maybe left hand at the shoulder. You can goalpost the left arm, you can straighten. Any type of circle here. We want to feel the scapula move. So the shoulder blade is kind of circling all around. Pelvis is holding still. Pick up that left foot, step it forward toward the back of the mat. Lift off your right knee as we continue to turn to the side of the mat. Goddess squat, hips externally rotate. Long in the spine here, arms out, palms in whatever direction you want. Let's circle. Circling the shoulder blades are moving here, but really keep those ribs from doing the moving. Turn to the front of the mat, plank pose. Knees can be up or down. Let's picture that broom behind us here. Lower the knees, lift the throat, lower down with control. Low cobra, engage the glutes. Keep that pelvis neutral, spine stays long. Maybe we add that little shoulder roll back one at a time, if that feels good for the upper back and the neck. Down dog, walk those feet in, add your shrugs up and down. If you want to be in a child's pose, if that feels better, you could do that. Let's walk it forward. Push the ground away. Let's rise up. We're going to do that one more time with some options to amp it up. A little more mobility and challenge. Reach the arms up. Hinge at the hips, long in the spine. Right foot back. Lower the knee, but not the toes. Lift up. Find triple S. Stick with those alternating diagonals or bend the elbows like you're trying to touch back of your skull or somewhere on your back. So you just take that diagonal and turn it into more of this kind of swimmer rotation of the shoulder. Maintain that engagement around that right glute. Okay, we're lifting off our right knee. Maybe we use blocks. Turn to the right. Side lunge right. Stick with that left arm swing forward or circle left arm forward or sweep it forward and then circle it around. Sweep forward, circle around. So if that amount of movement and type of movement feels good on the left shoulder, you can do that. You can stick with just the arm swing forward. So we always want to do what we can, maintaining that neutral spine, not letting the pelvis tip. Turn to the back of the mat, left hand, left knee plant, modified side plank. Right arm reaches up, zipper that front body up like you're putting on a wetsuit. And then take that right arm, kind of like we did thread the needle in quadruped, thread your right arm under any amount. It's okay, there's gonna be a little rounding and rotation in the back and the spine, that's okay. And then reach it back up. Triple S, long in the spine. Reach that right arm, kind of like you're holding a beach ball. So we're getting a little rounding in the back to whatever amount feels good. Stay really stable in that left side of the pelvis, left hip. Good, right foot steps forward. We lift off that left knee, turn to the side of the mat, goddess. Zipper up the pubic bone to the belly button. Let's add some side bends. Fast or slow. You could add more challenge by adding a straighten in between each side bend. So really working that strength and stability around the pelvis. You could, of course, just stay here. Let's turn to the front of the mat, plank pose. Find your plank, triple S. Lower the knees, lower the rest of the way down. Head comes all the way down, goalpost the arms. Feel the pubic bone zipper up toward the belly. Keep the head down, but let's float the arms up. Keep lifting the belly. Now you can lift the front of the throat up, but keep the low back long, almost like you're tucking the tailbone under. Hands come under the shoulders, down dog. Walk the feet in so that your down dog is really bouncy. You can do your shrugs here, that kind of upward rotation or elevation of the scapula. You can swivel, bending the knees, swiveling side to side. Whatever you're doing, stay really active in the hands. Press into the fingers, the knuckles, the finger pads. Lift the ribs up. So we want to make sure we don't ever feel like we're sinking the chest down in our down dog. Let's walk it forward and we'll do that stream on the second side. Big bend in your knees. Press the ground away as you rise up. Reach those fingertips up, shoulder blades way up toward the ears. Big bend. Let's hinge at the hips. Left foot back. Lower the knee, not the toes. We're in our 90-90. Feel that stack. Maybe we're sticking with our diagonal chest openers. You can take that diagonal, bend the elbow, turn it into a little bit of shoulder internal and external rotation. But keep that feeling of zippering the front of the body up. Let's lift off the left knee, hands to blocks if that helps. Turn to the left. We're only side lunging left and then pushing the ground away to straighten. Maybe right arm swings forward, shoulder flexion. Maybe we swing and then circle it out to the side, little swimmer. Whatever you're doing, keep the ribs from drooping so that we're not arching in the upper back. We're really maintaining the core. Turn to the back of the mat, right hand and right knee plant, modified side plank. Secure the right shoulder, right hip, right side of the pelvis. Left arm up. Let's add that little sweep. Any amount left arm tries to sweep under and then bring it back. This sweep is going to be really small. Don't let the right shoulder move around. So if you feel like the head of the right arm bone, the front of the shoulder is really dipping or pushing forward, make your movement of the left arm, the spine, a little bit smaller. Left foot steps forward toward the back of the mat. We lift off the right knee, open to the side of the mat. Goddess squat. Find your triple S. Active legs, side bend. Go super slow. Make it a little bit more dynamic and pick up the pace. If you want to add that straighten in between, you can. That's going to challenge your balance as well. So do whatever feels good as we get this nice side body stretch. Turn to the front of the mat, plank pose. Long in the spine. Knees lower, lower the rest of the way down. Head comes down, goalpost the arms. Almost like you're tucking the tailbone to find neutral. Lift the arms, lift the belly, lift from the front of the throat up. Stay long through the back of the neck, so it's not a back bend. Hands under the shoulders. Your choice, you can take down dog. You can shift it back into a child's pose or puppy pose. Whatever you want to do for a couple breaths. Let's all meet on hands and knees, and we'll do a little bit of cat-cow, or if you want to do a belly roll, move your spine in a circular way and try to do at least a couple both directions. Let's grab our blocks. We're going to end on our backs, but this time the block is going to come behind the back of the head or base of the skull at whatever setting you want on the block. Let's lower down and feel that triple S. So knees, let's keep them bent, feet on the mat. And just like we did with the block under the scapula, start to just move in whatever way feels good for the neck, as gently as you need, maybe side to side, a little rotation feels good, maybe chin up and down, cervical flexion and extension. You can even side bend here, ear to the shoulder. And just notice if one side feels a little bit different than the other. You're welcome to stay here as long as you'd like. You can end here with the block under the skull as you just mobilize or breathe. You could slide the block away wherever you'd like to end together with the eyes closed. Relaxing your jaw. Soften the muscles of the neck and the chest, the shoulders and the arms. Inhale and expand all the way around the ribs. Fully exhaling it out at your own pace. And as you're here with the eyes closed, take a moment to thank yourself for your practice today. Sending one grateful thought out into the universe.